What's up, world? It's your girl Ashley Style, and yeah, it's been like what I don't know. I feel like it's been like 2 years since I made a YouTube video, and yeah, um, I'm making a video today, obviously because 2 years ago I just left you hanging, and I'm just gonna fill you in on where I am today and basically just give you kind of an update and talk about the potential of recording videos again. I don't know if I really will, but you know, I'm gonna talk about it. Sorry if I look busty because I literally was just laying in the bed and decided let's just do it. To kick off, anybody that didn't watch these videos, which wasn't many people, but if you didn't, you know, 5 years ago, actually, this is my year 5, I moved to New York without any money. And well, no, that's not true. I had what, $70, I think it was, 2 suitcases, with aspirations of being a visual merchandiser and stylist. Okay. I started recording that journey because I quit my job on a whim, worked as a movie actress for a little while before I moved to New York, stayed with my god brother for, I think it was 4 months. I could be lying, but I think it was 4 months. And this has been the journey of chasing the dream. So where I am 2 years later. 2 years later, I have accomplished almost every single thing that I came to New York to accomplish, with the exception of living in my own place. Now, 2 years ago when I was recording videos, you guys know I was living in a room where I could not cook, could not have guests, had someone living in my kitchen and someone living in my living room. Am I still living in that apartment? I am not. The reason why I stopped making videos 2 years ago is because of that. I moved in that apartment and it was just like, when winter came, people in New York, we hibernate. We don't do much. We don't go anywhere. I am so chubby, but that's okay. I'm still cute though. You don't go anywhere. We don't do anything. So you're basically in the house, and I could not record videos in that house. Like, I lived in a 4x4 cell kind of thing. Not really. It was really quite spacious place, but ooh, I'm sorry, that burgundy hat is kind of throwing the kid, so I'm gonna scooch, which puts me in a weird place. Let's see. Okay, yeah, sorry, hat, oh, it's still kind of that hat is distracting me, but anyway, sorry. Yes, I've accomplished pretty much everything that I set out to accomplish. Oh yeah, I was saying why I stopped making videos. Because of that, living in that room, there was just really no place to create content and make videos, and I really didn't have much of a social life because it was winter. And when winter was over, I mean, I just was boring. I was going to work and coming home, and that was just my life. And you know, when circumstances changed and there was a lot of things that I could have made videos about, the internet had become a very cruel place, and YouTube had become a very cruel place with comments and people being nasty and all that kind of stuff and negative. And I am a Cancer, so that means I'm like super tough, whoop your ass, but at the same time I'm super sensitive. Like, I ain't gonna be able to take too many of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit, you feel me? So yeah, that was basically it. I just was like, every time I was tempted to come back, I'm like, they're gonna be nasty to me and I'm not gonna be able to take it. Then I recorded a video and I was like, ooh girl, you look like you weigh 700 pounds. We're not gonna upload that to the internet. So depending on how I look in this one, we may or may not upload it. Anyway, I'm off on so many tangents because it's been so long since I've done this. But where am I today? I can't remember where I was in the journey the last time I made a video because I don't I don't know if I had become a window dresser or not. Well, a window stylist, sorry. I can't remember. So I'm just gonna start from there just in case I never filled you guys in on that. So anyway, long story short, I got to a point in this journey where basically I had gotten this new job, came back to New York. I went home for the holidays, came back, and basically the job played me. They basically never got through with the HR, my paperwork, blah, 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 blah. They were prolonging the process. And pretty much what happened was I ended up being super behind on my rent, getting ready to get kicked out of my place, and I had failed. Essentially, it was time to pack my stuff and go back home to Louisiana. So I commenced into packing my entire life into some boxes and preparing to give away my things and being super depressed. I don't know if I told you guys this, but yeah. So anyway, did all of that, reached out. I started trying to go to temp agencies. It just wasn't working out. They would call me, say I got the job, I would get ready to start. Then they would say they filled it internally. And so yeah, basically I was like super depressed and I mean suicidal, to be quite honest. So I packed my things and I called my mom, like, okay, basically send me the money so I can get home. And she basically was like, sis, okay, but it's gonna take some time because I just paid for your trip home and back. I'm like, okay, so now I'm really freaking out because I'm like, am I gonna be on the streets of New York, you know, kind of thing? I don't want to do that. Am I gonna be in a homeless shelter, like whatever? So because of that, I ended up like calling one of my former bosses and asking him if he had any positions available. He said yes, but nothing in a leadership role, whatever. And I was like, at this point, I'll just take, you know, whatever you got. So he was like, okay, send me your resume kind of thing. And then I was like, hey, how long is the process gonna take? And he said 2 weeks. I said, I don't have 2 weeks, so that's not gonna work. And he said, okay, well, break down the situation to me. So I told him everything and he was like, okay, send the resume and I'll follow up with you in a few hours. So I guess like maybe within an hour or two, I got a call with a job offer, and some kind of way he finessed it to where I could start the next day. So I literally didn't even really interview. I just came in. I didn't even know what I would be doing. I had worked with him on the visual team before, but I wasn't sure if I would be continuing to do that or not. So I just showed up like, okay, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm a hard worker. I can do whatever. I got there and I was working on the visual team, whatever. Not making really much money, but it was a job. I spoke with my room lord, the lady who owned the apartment that I was renting from, and told her the situation. And quite frankly, she was like, okay, I'll work with you. Shout out to her, because honestly, if she had not been willing to work with me, I would be at home. Or I don't know. Yeah, so got on my feet and started working in that job. And that was great. And I loved that job. I had aspirations of working, obviously, on the styling team. There were so many people ahead of me for that position, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, the stylist assistant ended up losing her position and losing her job. Which opened up the role for someone else, and I wanted it. So I communicated that with my former manager, and basically he was just kind of like, why did you say that from the beginning? Could have been worked that out, you know. But there was, like I said, a lot of people in line for that job, and I ended up having to compete with someone else for the role. Mind you guys, like at this point in time, we had to wear the clothes. I didn't have any money, so all I had was basically some items that I got from the thrift store that were the brand, and what they had given us as like uniform to begin with. So these people are seeing me in the same outfit like every 2 days. And they're thinking like, this girl ain't got no style, you know, basically. So anyway, I applied for the position, got the position. The young lady who was the lead stylist, or styling manager over styling, she was very, very quiet and not very open, but she was hella good at her job. So the first moment that I ever saw her, I immediately was like, you know, I don't care if I work on the styling team or not, I am going to get to know everything that girl knows, because she killing the game. Okay, so fast forward, she really wouldn't even talk to me at all. Like, she was kind of like, you know, shade me in the beginning. I'll tell her to say, but she don't believe me. So when I did get on the styling team, eventually it took some time, but her and I, you know, began talking and realizing that we had an immense amount of things in common, and she is really one of my best friends at this you know, juncture in my life. Like, I love her. She's amazing, and she's amazing what she does. She's amazing as a friend. She's awesome. It's a great connection. Fast forward, I worked there for a year, and like I said, I wasn't really getting paid. I asked for a raise, and they basically were like, I don't know, I'm sure you guys are aware that minimum wage in New York recently went up. I think over the past 2 years it's actually gone up, and this would have been 2 years ago. So this was right before that impending manual minimum wage hike. I wasn't making minimum wage at that point, but that was affecting my ability to get my raise, because now the corporation has to take on X amount of dollars to raise all of the employees who were not currently making that minimum wage to the new effective number, whatever. So basically they were like, we're gonna try to work it out, we want to keep you, we love you, blah blah. In the meantime, I started looking for work. As you guys know, I had worked for Another Stories before, and basically all of the companies at which you can excel as being a visual merchandiser, I felt like I was being blackballed at them, because I didn't leave Another Stories on bad terms. I left to go, I didn't even want to leave. Unfortunately, I didn't have a choice, because I needed 2 jobs, and my second job was a conflict of interest, and they would not make any exceptions for me, so I had to leave. I gave a proper notice and all that. Either way, they were not willing to rehire me. So I felt like there was nowhere that I could really go. I interviewed with what's the company that owns Zara? I'm not sure, I can't think right now. Something. Anyway, the company that owns Zara, I interviewed with them, did not get the position. So at this point I felt like, oh, you know, I was sitting looking on the computer on LinkedIn one night. I'm just like, I'm gonna apply for some jobs. I wasn't really seeing anything outside of those 2, and I got really frustrated, and then I had a talk with myself like, okay, look, think about it like this. Right now, you love your job, okay? The next job, you might not love it. And that's often the case. So how many times, I feel like I'm really close to the camera. How many times in life do you get an opportunity to do something that you really love and like the company and the job and all that good stuff? You don't get those many opportunities. So I said, you know what? Let's just focus on that. Let's focus on enjoying the current moment of enjoying what you're doing and where you're doing it and who you're doing it with. So I saw one little role. I said, you know, it said they were looking for a visual merchandiser. I applied. Simple application, may have taken 5 minutes. Closed my laptop and did not apply for anything else at that point. So about, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 months later, they emailed me and were like, are you still interested in the role? I said yes. They said, would you like to come in for an interview on this date? Now, the date they wanted me to come in, I was getting ready to travel home for Thanksgiving. So it was like, you know, I'm sorry, I really can't. I have to get on a plane. And they were like, no, 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 no. Come in before your flight if you can, and we'll just interview. I'm like, okay, cool. I get there, go on the interview, meet the head. Awesome interview. He was great. He was dope. He explained the position, and I realized, like, wow, this is not the position I thought that I would be getting. This is the position that I always wanted. Period. So I was like I left there like super psyched, like, oh my god, that was so great. But realizing that within my own self there were some inadequacies in my own professional work, that there were things in the role that I had never done. So I went home and just was like, okay, cool, it went really well. They explained to me that if I needed to do a second interview, it would be interactive, and they would let me know shortly. I get home for Thanksgiving. I get the email like, hey, we're gonna do you for a second interview. I am like, you know, Thanksgiving was canceled because I needed to teach myself how to do 3D rendering and like all this other stuff. And so like I did that, worked on, I had to do a presentation. It was 3 different parts. So I went and like worked on that, all that good stuff. And boom, interview come, that they ended up canceling the interview, or rescheduling, sorry, because they wanted the company was British, and they wanted the British head to come in and interview me. So anyway, I go to the interview, I tried to look the lady up before the interview. Could not, because, you know, UK, US, whatever. I walk in and immediately I'm thinking, wow, she's bad. Like, you know, you know what I'm saying? I'm aspiring to be that right there. She's a boss. I'll have to tell you more about her later on, but she's awesome. So did the interview, wasn't sure, you know, I thought it went well. They gave me feedback throughout the interview, so I thought that was really good. They told me what I did well in, what I didn't, and all that good stuff. So I went home, kept it cute. I was like, cool, we'll see what happens. So at this point, as the process is going on and on, I'm like, maybe I am gonna get this role. I need to communicate this with my manager because I love him and he deserves that. So I explained to him like, hey, I asked for a raise, you guys weren't able to do that, and boom, this is the scenario. He explained to me, he was very proud of me, and he had heard some rumblings, so let him know. Fast forward, I got the job, and it is still my current job. I have been working there for 2 years, and it's been a great 2 years. I have the role consists of like a lot of travel, which I always wanted to do. I mean, sometimes it's really great, sometimes it's not so great, but you know, it's a blessing to have the opportunity to do that. So it's cool. We started off as a really, really tight knit group, which was nice because you became like a family. Now we're like a huge, you know, not huge, but we're a lot bigger in the US than we were originally in my beginning of my 2 years. Actually, it hasn't been 2 years for me yet. 2 years starting January 2nd. So almost 2 years. But yeah, so I am a wholesale VM. So basically, I mean, I don't know how to explain to you guys. Basically, I do everything that a VM does, but in a different capacity. Like, I'm responsible for showrooms, trade shows, and all of our wholesale accounts, like the VM guides and the associates and all that good stuff. So yeah, there have been some recent changes and all that good stuff, so I have some different responsibilities now, new responsibilities I should say. But yeah, that's kind of been my life. So I'm really not, that's also, there would be like a lot of stuff to really to vlog if I ever decided to do that again. I'm not sure I will, because I travel a lot and my life is not boring in a sense of like that capacity, because like for the next January and February I may be home. There's maybe 1 week where I'm not traveling. So yeah, it's bananas, it's crazy. But yeah, Sometimes I get frustrated, and then I realize, like, man, you really are blessed. Like, for example, like, it's Christmas. I went home for like 2 weeks for Thanksgiving. I just came back for Christmas. I was gone for like almost 2 weeks, and I realized like not a lot of companies would allow you to do that, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, so the living situation, as you can see, or maybe you can't see, I don't know, I have moved. So I do not live in the same apartment. I just recently moved. I've had a lot of medical issues, not related to diabetes, because I am a type 1 diabetic, but not related to that, other medical issues. And that prompted me to start looking for a place to live, because I thought I was going to have major surgery, and someone was going to have to come and take care of me, and they couldn't do that in that apartment. And yeah, so basically I ended up, the circumstances of that are insane, how that all worked out. And maybe if people watch this video and are interested, I will talk about how I got into this place. I'm currently looking for another place, but you know, I love this place, but it has some issues. So, but I don't have anyone living in my kitchen, and no one lives in my living room, and it's enormous and modern and all that good stuff. And oh yeah, I live in Brooklyn now, because before I lived in Washington Heights, sorry, but yeah, Uptown. So now I live in Brooklyn. That's a whole nother thing. So yeah, if you guys want me to talk about that apartment thing, I could actually do that. So yeah, what am I planning for 2020? I'm getting ready to start a business. At least I hope I'm getting ready to start a business. I don't want to give the details of that right now, because I need to work on some other things first. Like, the first thing I need to do is trademark my name, so I'm not sharing that right now, but that's kind of step one. And then I've been doing some designs, and I probably shouldn't say that, because then you guys will know, kind of know what direction I'm trying to go in. But either way, doing some designs, so I'm gonna get samples made soon, and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But yeah, so that's, I think that's pretty much it. Like, I don't know what else I could say. Like, if you have any questions about being a visual merchandiser, living in New York City, or moving to New York City, I guess, and living here, being a transplant, the Heights or Uptown versus Brooklyn, all that kind of stuff. Actually, I live in Bed-Stuy now. I don't know if I said that. And yeah, that's pretty much the beginning. That's it. That's all she wrote. I think I'm going to vlog the process of, we're blinking here, the process of starting my business. So look forward to that. Thank you to anybody who watched this video and watched my videos years ago. All right guys, bye.